Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. You know, I would really like to organize a hide-and-seek tournament, but good players are hard to find. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at V-Sabotage, Ghost Expansion, and Miniatures Pack. We'll get back to the review in just a moment. I want to take a minute to ask you to check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about history, books on history, military history. I even post some of my lectures for my classes on there. Please check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. And now, back to the review. Now, I reviewed V-Sabotage back in 2017 when it was called V-Commandos. Now, if you want to go ahead and check that out and see kind of a rules overview of how this game is played, that's the place to look. I'll put a link in the description. Today, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the expansion, which is called Ghost, and we're also going to be looking at the Miniatures Pack. Now, the Ghost expansion brings a plethora of new components to the game. You're going to have new operation cards, new level cards, you're going to have new event cards, you're going to have some red dice, you're also going to have some lucky tokens and some danger tokens. You're also going to have a ton of new tiles to set up your game board, as well as some new characters and some additional goodies. Now, fundamentally, what this expansion brings to your game are three new game modes. First of all, you have experience. Essentially, this is a way of leveling up characters between levels. So you can complete a level, and whoever does the objective, or who's ever in the room when the objective is accomplished, they can go ahead and get an experience card. Now, you have two decks of experience cards, kind of an orange deck and a white one. Anytime you get to an experience level there, you get to level up, you grab two of these cards, one from each deck. You look them over, you decide which one you want, and you put one of them on your kind of your player board there, and then the other one, of course, you just put back to its respective deck. You put it on the bottom of that respective deck. Now, when you go into the next level, then that character is going to be able to do those specific abilities or options with that experience deck. Now, with that experience card. Now, you can never have more than 3 experience cards in this game. Now, the second mode you can play with this expansion is the Lone Wolf mode. Essentially, in the Lone Wolf mode, instead of taking a team of commandos into the fire, so to speak, you only take one commando. But this one commando, depending on the missions, he's actually going to start with an XP card, and instead of just gaining a total of 3 XP cards, he can actually gain a total of 6 XP cards over the course of the game. Now, finally, there is a campaign mode. Essentially, there's a way where you can link the operations. Now, as you know, in the game, you link the levels within an operation. Here, there's ways to link operations so that you can essentially play out a longer game over a period of time to progress your characters. Now, this expansion also brings danger tokens. So, like, when you're going to level up with XP, you're going to add danger tokens. Over the course of the game, you're going to have more danger tokens in the bag that you pull your enemies from. Some of these danger tokens, they can, if you are shooting a gun and you roll, I think, a 1, then you have to lose the gun. The gun is jammed, it doesn't work, you get rid of it. Another danger token will be your stealth checks. Essentially, if you roll 1, 2, or 3, you fail the stealth check instead of just 1 or 2. There's another danger token that when you roll stealth checks, you actually roll 2 die instead of 1. Typically, when you draw a danger token, you have to draw another enemy token as well, so they're doubly dangerous. Now, there's also the lucky tokens, and you start the game with a set number of lucky tokens. If you draw them, you can essentially permanently remove one of the exits as one of the tokens. You can simply remove soldiers from the board. That's another token. So there's all different things that come into play with those lucky tokens as well. You also have, as I mentioned, the red dice, and some of the cards in the events will deal with these red dice. But essentially, what the red dice do is they have no ones. They essentially have 2 6s. So there's a little bit there. They can be a little bit better for the commandos as they move throughout the game. So now I want to talk about the miniatures pack. The miniatures pack has, of course, miniatures, right? Instead of the tokens you use for the soldiers and your commandos, you actually have minis that you get to use. You have specific cards to represent those minis, or you can play them with the others if you want to remember who's who. But you can go ahead, you can play these specific characters with those minis on the board. But you also have, in addition to the actual German soldiers, the different kinds of German soldiers, you also have kind of the machine gun and sandbag miniature. You have doors, little cardboard doors you can open and close throughout the game as well. And you also have bags that you can draw from, these really nice bags that it gives you that you get to draw from. Now, how the minis work here, though, is instead of the tokens that you pull, you have different tokens that you use. And what you do is you pull that token and you put it on the mini board next to that specific mini, so you keep the balance right in the bag, and then you put that mini on the board. If ever that particular mini is killed or eliminated, he goes back to his spot and you put his token back into the bag. So that's basically it. That's what you get with the Ghost expansion and with the minis pack. Now, I got to tell you, so like I said, it's been about 5 years ago when I reviewed the game, and I played it several times back in the day. When I moved to Texas, I actually ended up giving it to a friend. So I hadn't played it in a while, and I'd kind of forgotten about this game, frankly. And then the good people at Triton Noir reached out to me, and they said, would you be interested in reviewing it? And I mentioned, well, I no longer have the base game. So they went ahead, they sent me the base game, the expansion, and this miniatures pack. And I went ahead and I played this game solo. I played it with multiple characters, but I played as solo games. And as I'm playing through these games, I remembered how much fun this game is and what I liked about this game, because it's a dungeon crawler, but it's not a dungeon crawler about trying to kill all your enemies, right, or shoot them up, right? There's some of that here. There's an element of that here, but really fundamentally, this is a game about trying to avoid that. It's a game about stealth. You're rolling these stealth checks. You're trying to stay out of the way of the other Germans, and it's difficult because, of course, they keep coming in. At the end of every round, there's reinforcements. So you're getting more and more Germans on the board. You're trying to sneak past them where you can. You get into gunfights where you have to. But it's really, really a fun and engaging game. I love the World War II theme. I think the artwork here is really fun and really interesting. And then, of course, I like these mechanics of a game about sneaking around as opposed to just kind of, blunt force crashing through. So I think V-Sabotage is a great game. But I think this particular expansion, with those experience and leveling up your characters, I think that is very cool. It gives you some new and interesting powers. It's a cooperative game, of course, but it's very fun how you can use those powers in ways that feel asymmetrical with the other players. You can do things they can't, and you can do unique things, and it kind of makes your characters feel even more specialized than they are just from what they get on their original cards. So I really, really like that aspect. I really like the danger tokens because they're scary. You're dreading reaching into that bag anyway because you don't know which one of the enemies is going to come out. But when you pull out one of those danger cards, you're like, ugh. And at the same time, you're always hoping, come on, let me pull a lucky card, let me pull a lucky card. And they can come in extremely handy. So I really like that aspect of the game here as well. As far as the minis pack go, I'm somebody who always says, to me, the game's the thing. And I like minis, and all things being equal, I would prefer minis, but I'm not someone that needs minis in my game. Having said that, I really honestly felt like the minis improved this game. They made it more fun. They made it three-dimensional. Instead of just the tokens everywhere, you see people through the doors and the angles, and it makes it feel a little more immersive. And I had a lot of fun with it. I think the system of putting the tokens on the board, and that was very easy. Obviously, it's nothing to it, but it's a good way of maintaining the balance. But the game, to me, really kind of comes alive with the minis pack. It's a great game on its own. It's even better with the minis. So my recommendation for both the Ghost expansion and the miniature pack for V-Sabotage is buy it. Well, thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We'd ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. I'd also ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to please check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about military history and books on history, fun things like that. I also am currently posting some of the lectures from my classes that you can check out there if that's something you're interested in. And I'd ask you to please give a thumb to this video on Board Game Geek. We really appreciate that as well. You know, ladies and gentlemen, obviously I'm a historian and I really love history, but I had some struggles in college. I failed more math classes than you can possibly imagine. I can't even count.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
Sweet TNT and a crowbar. This is why I joined up.